And we are live. Hi everybody, Diane Dimitri here on the Gold Coast, author, speaker, entrepreneur. Thanks for coming tonight. Great to have you here on the Gold Coast tonight. So if you're with me for Power Chat to get rid of those midweek blues, drop a comment in the comments so I can see that you're here and we'll begin. I'm going to get straight into it tonight so that we don't waste any time. So here we go. Last week we talked about decisions designing our destiny, and I talked about empowering and disempowering decisions. And I'm hoping this week that you actually looked at what your decisions were. So you made more conscious decisions this week. Hi Tracy, good to have you here. Great. So this week you made more empowering decisions, which is really important so that we're not as unconscious. And this is what we're finding is happening in the world at the moment too. This is a great shift in consciousness that we're going through. And what we need to do is we need to harness that power that's happening on the planet, not run away from it, harness it. So last week, hopefully, you've been more conscious of all the decisions you've been making, even the tiny ones, even the tiny ones. Hi, Robin. Hi, Sally. Good to have you here. Wendy, hi. So last week, hopefully you've made more conscious, empowering decisions. And every decision you made, even though it was only small, you stopped and you went within just for that minute and went, is that the best, most empowering decision I can make? Does that actually make me a more full, resonant, and empowered human being? So let's move a little bit along that pathway this week, because what I want to do is I want to dig deeper into decisions. And what I want to talk about is that really in life, there are only two choices. And a lot of people go, no, that can't be right. But think about it. There are only two choices in life. And the first choice is to actually make decisions and choose for happiness or to choose for suffering. A lot of people at the moment are choosing for suffering because it's being bombarded at us. Everywhere we look, we are bombarded by people's suffering, by people's fear, by what's wrong with the world. And so it's still our choice. And this week we're going to look at what do we focus on? Because it's really important to understand that focus and mindset go hand in hand. Your mindset is all about your focus and your focus is all about your mindset. So if you want to have a life that is more fulfilling and more empowering and more successful and more loving and kind and generous and healthy and all of those things, you need to choose for it consciously. It doesn't just happen. I say to people who are suffering, I say, nobody comes along, flips your head open and pours a whole jug of suffering down your throat. Where does suffering come from? It comes from within us. We actually create our own suffering. We create suffering in our own lives. Why? Because we've got it all loaded down here, but also because we choose to focus on it. And I know a lot of people would say, oh, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. I've got a terrible past and I've got this and it's, it haunts me, etc., etc. But can I go just one step further with you? And that is, we will never make change in our lives from the same level of consciousness that created the issue in the first place. Einstein said something like that. We will never make change. We will never solve any of the problems that we have from the same level of consciousness. So therefore, I'm going to encourage you this week to consider, who are you? Who are you? Are you just a random body made up a whole stack of stuff and that you live and you die and in the middle is basically suffering? Is that who you are? Are you subject to a virus? Do you have a focus and a mindset that you're under attack? Who are you? Because when we think and believe and actually integrate that we're just some random body, we will always find ourselves slipping down the slide to suffering. Why? Because we inherently believe that that's all there is to us. And I'm going to suggest to you that we are all energetic beings having a human experience. That's who we are. We are far more than this flesh and blood. We are far more than the limit of this. We know that now through Kirlian photography, that our auras and our energy fields stretch way beyond us. So if that's the case, who are we? If we track it back logically, we have to go, well, we're energetic beings that have this vehicle of this body, and therefore, if we take that on board and let that sense of perspective shift with you, you can then shift your focus and you can change your mindset and you can feel empowered enough to choose for happiness rather than suffering. And that's what energetic focus is all about. It's not about manipulating yourself and controlling yourself and putting yourself under pressure. It's about allowing yourself to yield into your energy, into the energetic focus of who you truly are as an energetic being having a human experience. So consider that. I want you to consider that. Even if it doesn't sit with you at the moment, allow that to drift over you. Because once we make that shift of perspective, once we give up the limited human perspective of suffering and of stress and of struggle and of sleepless nights and that it's really just too hard, and shift to what I call a master mindset, where we go, we are far more than we ever imagined. And that we are, as Albert Einstein said, everything is energy. We are energy having a human experience. I'm having a human experience in a discernible presence that has been labeled Diane. And you're having your own energetic experience in your discernible presence with whatever label you have. And once we start to see life from that perspective, things start to change. And that's when we find it so much easier to shift our focus. So for instance, today, consider what you focused on. Was most of your day focused on suffering, on the bad news, on what's going wrong, how many borders are now being shut, that you're locked down and that this isn't working and that's not working and you're going, oh God, my life has gone to hell in a handbasket? Has that been predominantly the focus of your day? Or have you predominantly focused on happiness, on things that bring you joy, things that fulfill you and empower you? And that's what an energetic focus is all about. So I want to go through 3 really quick points with you. So firstly, consider across the board, not just for today, but what do you predominantly focus on throughout your life? If you had to put your whole life together now, what's your predominant energetic focus? Is it on happiness or is it on suffering? Do you get thrown off kilter just by little things? Or do you hold your course and go, no, that's just a little detail of my life. That's just another little detail. I'm going to stay focused on happiness. Because remember, where our focus goes, our energy flows, and results will surely follow. That's it in a nutshell. Okay, where our focus goes, energy flows, and results will surely follow. So it's vitally important for you to understand that you are the master of your destiny. Things don't just happen to you. You are a great big magnet, attracting everything into you, for you then to choose the focus that you're going to have in that situation. So this is the first key to it. What do you predominantly focus on? Happiness or suffering? happiness or suffering. The second thing is, I want you to consider whatever it is that you are focusing on, whether it's the events happening around you or the situations or the circumstances or whatever it is, how do you allow that to affect your energy? So if you are allowing, for instance, the great big health crisis we have at the moment to affect your energy and bring you down and make you move into suffering, that is your interpretation. That is your focus. That is what you're choosing to do with the current situation. And yes, I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying it's simple. We have so much power in our life that due to our conditioning and due to the way we've been brought up and due to the way that we've had experiences in our past and how we've interpreted them and all the neural loops we've made in our own brain, we keep running the old programs. And what I'm here to encourage you to do is to short circuit those programs and to go, no, wait, there is another way here. There is another perspective. I can look at this a different way. So look, I saw this great program the other night. It was on, what was it? I think it was, can't remember. It was on Channel 2 and it could have been Foreign Correspondent or something like that, one of those programs. But they followed a doctor in Italy who was working in the COVID ward. And she was married and she had 2 children at home. And the really fascinating thing about it was not just her ability to cope and her focus throughout the entire lockdown period and the peak of the coronavirus in Italy where she was, but the interview with the 2 kids. Now this was fascinating because they asked what they thought of their mother independently. The young boy, who was probably an early teenager, said, "Mum's like Captain America. She just goes in there and she beats that virus." That was his mindset, his perspective of his mother at her job. The girl, who was a couple of years younger, broke into tears, terrified that her mother was going to catch coronavirus and die, and what would happen to her and who would cook for her. Classic, just classic differences. And so what a wonderful example of focus. One was focused on, Mum's a hero, she'll go in, it'll be right, we're all good to go. And the other focus was, poor me, what about me? Mummy's going to die, who's going to cook for me? So this is what I'm saying. Same situation, mother in the COVID ward, doing what she needs to do, 2 different points of view, 2 different perspectives, 2 different mindsets, therefore 2 totally different focuses. So consider, that's the energetic focus of those children. So what do you think they're going to create in their reality as they grow up if they hold on to those 2 focuses? Those 2 mindsets, because where their focus goes, energy flows and results will surely follow. So what I'd like you to do is to consider what your focus is and where that's come from, and then how can you shift that moving forward to a focus on more happiness rather than suffering? Because we all have the power to do it. We don't have to dig around in the dumpster of life. Been there, done that. It is easier than we think. It really is. So point number 2, that was point number 2. What does everything mean to you and how does that affect your energy? And then the third point I want you to consider is, what is your vibrational resonance with your focus? Wherever your focus is, which is coming from your mindset, because they're interrelated, you can't separate one from the other. What is it doing to your vibrational resonance? How are you living your day? Would you say that you're living your day with passion, with energy, with enthusiasm, with optimism, with hope? I know that seems pretty tough at the moment because everybody else is saying, oh God, it's not good. But what I'm saying is that you can. This is the thing. We don't have to be lemmings and jump off a cliff and follow what everybody else is doing. We can stand in our own energy, in our own vibrational resonance and say, I am more than what appears to be going on. I am more than what I even thought I was. And now I'm going to explore that. Understand that every day we sort of spend it flip-flopping on our focus. Some days are better than others. And not always can we hold that great energy and focus on the happiness. But the key here is don't beat yourself up. Don't drop into guilt. Don't give any of those negative emotions any power over you. So sure, you're going to have a bad moment, you're going to have a bad day, but the more conscious you become, the more you can go, wait a minute, actually I have a choice here to shift my focus and to actually elevate my vibrational resonance and allow the energy of who I am to be more empowering and to move out from me and bring in better results, bring in more fulfilling results, more empowering results. And that's what energetic focus is about. It's not about thinking positive thoughts. That's part of it. But the real aspect of it is your energy, is that you are an energetic being who is the master of your destiny. And at every moment, in every instant, no matter what is going on, you have a choice. It's like Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in jail, and every moment he had a choice for suffering or for happiness. And when he walked out and said, I forgive everyone. Why? Because it's good for me and it's good for them. So we always have choice. It's just that we've been conditioned to believe that we don't. So this week, consider, if you will, your energetic focus. Think of those three things. Where is your focus going? What do things mean to you energetically? And how can you actually elevate your vibrational resonance on a moment-to-moment basis? And it's a bit like reeling yourself back in and going, hang on. I have a choice here. I can shift my focus. And there's so many ways we can do it. We can do it through exercise, going for a walk, going outside, nature's fabulous, doing all of those things, hugging a tree, patting a dog. I mean, aren't pets the best thing in the world for shifting your energetic vibration? Wonderful. So there we have at our disposal so many tools we can use, so many strategies, so many systems. And the more conscious we become on a daily basis, and we reach out and use the systems and the tools and the strategies that we have around us all the time, the easier it becomes. I love a particular affirmation that came to me this week in one of my meditations, and it goes, everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. And when that came to me in my meditation, I've been using it every morning. I get out of bed, I do my power up practices, and as part of that, I just stand for that extra moment and I look outside at the most magnificent place in the world, in my opinion, and go, everything always works out for me. And that helps me set my focus for the day. It reminds me of what my mindset needs to be in order for me to travel through that day and create the results that I deserve and that I want. And in that way, I can also, with my energy, which is spreading out from my body, it can positively affect those around me. And what better gift can we give, not just to ourselves, but to everybody else, by that vibrational resonance, that high vibrational resonance to people around us, and they feel it, and then you get that lovely knock-on effect. So I encourage you to shift your perspective if you're not already thinking in that framework. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying, why not consider a shift of mindset? Now, I've been talking lots and lots here. Does anybody have a question that they would like to ask, or any comments or whatever? We've been really very quiet here, so hopefully you're all still here with me. Okay, so I'll wind it up then if we don't have any further comments, and I will talk to you all next week. See you then. Bye.